Okay, we are continuing our shiurim in Daas Tevunos. This marks, I think, the 10th shiur. I'm here, as always, with David Goodwin behind the camera, learning between Mincha and Ma'ariv. And this learning, the shiurim, and the inspiration we get should be as chus l'ilui nishmas, Daniella Sheina, Yehoshua Falik, Daniella Sheina, who was nifteris just over a year ago. We left off in paragraph Lamed Vav 36, where the Seichel is explaining the implications of the concept of Yichud. Backing up a few steps, he told us that Yichud is the only idea about God that we could fully understand, because Yichud is defined that there is no other power. The neshama said, well, doesn't that seem to be a simple idea? There's only one God, there's only one creator. What's so complicated and important about that? The Seichel is now explaining that it's not just one God and one creator, but there's only one force in the universe. There's only one will in the universe, and anything that happens and everything that happens in the creation is coming as an expression of that will, of that ratzon, and there's nothing that stops it. That's what yichud means. There's only one power, only one force, and nothing can undermine or prevent that force. And now he begins to outline for us 5 different perspectives, 5 different worldviews that exist, that are each one in a different aspect contrary to the concept of yichud. In other words, these are all 5 different ways that what we would call kfira, what we would call heresy. These are different ways of denying the yichud of Hashem, denying the singular power of God. And the first 2 that we outlined in the last year were 2 forms of idol worship, like pagan idol worship, either believing that the stars and the sun and the moons and the mountains and the rain have their own power that maybe even God set up, but they have their power, and that we are supposed to, we can appeal to them. And the second one being this idea of good and evil, God and the devil. The third idea, denying yichud, is the idea simply of chance, of nature, is maybe naturalism, what we would call this today, atheism. A person who doesn't believe in anything beyond what we see, and everything that happens in the world is a result of blind forces of nature, and the people harnessing those forces and affecting other people. And this is the idea that Torah calls kochi va'utzim yadi. Okay, now we're moving on. Hadas Revius, Hidas goyi haaretz ha'omrim chata Yisrael. Now this is basically outlining Christianity, the perspective of Christianity, which is also a denial of yichud, because what they say is that God at one point had chosen the Jews. There was the Jewish nation that was chosen, but the Klal Yisrael having sinned, God changed his mind, and it's a result of that things happen to Klal Yisrael, that Bnei Yisrael is downtrodden and we suffer. In other words, it's not a direct result of God's yichud. Chata Yisrael, ein Yeshua lo be'elukim sela. Klal Yisrael no longer has any salvation in God. Chas v'shalom. Kesef nimos karu lehem. They're referred to as despised kesef, silver, ruined silver. Ki Kadosh Baruch Hu bacha b'hem v'nasam lehem bechira b'yadam lios tzadikim rashayim. Because Hashem chose Klal Yisrael, gave us the Torah, gave us the bechira, the free will to be either righteous or wicked. And we were evil. And they have, kavayachol, so to speak, prevented God from fulfilling His promise with us. In other words, that's also contrary to yichud. In other words, Hashem's yichud was that I want Klal Yisrael to be my chosen nation, and no matter what they do, they will be my people. But no, we have gone ahead, chas v'shalom, but we've gone ahead and undermined that by our wickedness. Like going through all of Tanakh, you just look how evil Klal Yisrael was. We've undermined that, so we have stopped Hashem from His ability to any longer do good to us and be His chosen people, and He's moved on now, with the idea of Christianity. Yeah. It's like we've weakened God, so to speak. He can't any longer do good for us. He has been forced to leave us and to switch us with another nation. Chas v'shalom, God forbid. Because we are no longer able to be saved, right? That's the idea. If somebody believes that the Klal Yisrael is not able to be saved by God, so that is denying God's ability. It's undermining His yichud. It's interesting how he puts Christianity into this idea also of a denial of Hashem's ultimate ability to save us, even though we're so wicked. Right? That itself. And their biggest proof to this is the length of the galus. The galus has gone on and on for so many long. And this is something that terrifies the hearts of people who are not really strong in their emunah. They look at the galus, they look at the terrible suffering that Klal Yisrael has gone through, and just imagine what happened since the times of the Ramchal until today. With the Holocaust and all sorts of Chalnitsky massacres, all sorts of things. And you just look at it. It looks like Hashem has stopped loving us, chas v'shalom, and that's what they say. Okay, and that's also, so a person has to seek an answer. Why is it that Klal Yisrael is so downtrodden? It must be that we have stopped him from loving us, and that also is a denial of Yichud. Hadas HaChamishis, the fifth perspective, he das Poshe Yisrael. Now this is something we don't really have so much as far as I would understand nowadays. This is like, the sinners in Klal Yisrael, like, the evil kings that would literally seek to provoke God. They would do evil in order to force God to respond in a certain way. And that also is a denial of Yichud. It's also indicating that we have the ability to force Hashem to act in a certain way or not. They recognized God, but they b'kavana, with intent, rebelled against Him. We don't really have this, don't understand what this would mean. Yeah, ka'amon, like a person like Amon, she'amar klum ani osa ela lahaches es bori. The Gemara says in Sanhedrin, he was doing a terrible aveira, that he said that he gets no pleasure from this aveira at all. So a person says, why are you doing this? He said, I'm only doing this to anger Hashem, so to provoke Hashem, as if I can force Hashem's hand. Yeah, v'chol techavasei, and all similar situations to this. Yeah, ukrok siv lamros einai kvodo. They went to be mored in order to rebel against Hashem. They think that they could force Hashem to do against His will. That just like you could provoke a friend, just like you could provoke another person and cause him to act against his will, like anger him so much that you force him to act. That's how they felt about Hashem also. Similar to this is people who use witchcraft and sorcery. Or using angelic names and things like of that nature. They would say, they would protect themselves from God with all of these types of forces and these types of elements, and that also is obviously something that undermines Yichud. Okay, so again, he outlined for us here 5 different approaches, each one of which undermines the concept of Yichud and expresses that there is a force in the world, there is a will in the world that is taking place, that is causing things to happen other than God's. A person, however, who believes in Yichud, who believes in the oneness of Hashem, and understands what it means, he has to believe that Hashem is one, singular, and only one. That there is nothing that prevents or stops Hashem from doing anything in any way, in any fashion. But He Himself rules and determines everything. I don't mean to say that there's not like a contrary force against Him. But no, He Himself is the creator of the good and the evil. Like the pasuk says, we read earlier, I'm Hashem, I create light, I create darkness, I create peace, I create evil. I am Hashem, I made all of these. There is no other force or element beneath Hashem that has any dominion or has any sort of rulership. There's no angelic force, there's no heavenly force, or no secondary force, like the pagans thought, but He pays attention to every single one of His creations, paying attention Himself. There is nothing that happens in His universe that is not 100% from His will and from His hand. And not by happenstance, and not by nature, and not through mazel, not through luck, or constellations, or anything along those lines. everything is happening only through Hashem. Hashem is the one who is judging the world and everything in it. And He's the one who decrees everything that's going to happen until the very last level of all of creation. So Hashem, contrary to any of these other ideas, we'll continue with this next time, Hashem is the only force, and if there's evil in the world, it's because He created it. Osa shalom ubore ra ani Hashem osa kol eleh.